Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and look at this. You don't notice it? Well, take a look at this now. Do you still not notice it? Well, maybe you'll notice after I show this. If you didn't pay attention to the numbers, Reinhardt's, but more importantly, Sigma's and Orisa's shields got nerfed. Their hit points got drastically reduced to the point where double shields could potentially be completely gone, boys! Along with some other nerfs, buffs, and changes to those 3 specific heroes. And in fact, I'll put all the changes on the screen so you Reinhardt's, Orisa's, and Sigma mains won't really freak out, because I understand, a nerf to your main is never at all welcome because it's your main. You love it. But if you can just take a step back, you have to admit that barrier watch was a thing. Shields were taking over Overwatch to the point where it wasn't all that fun to play DPS heroes specifically. Now, while I will focus mainly on the shield nerf and if it's good or bad for Overwatch, with this other PTR update, which is only on the PTR, so console people, if you guys don't know how this works, it usually takes 3 to 4 weeks for PTR updates to go onto live servers, but with the same update did come a few changes for other heroes. Like with D.Va, she received a slight cooldown to her defense matrix. Widowmaker, the cooldown increased to her grapple to 12 seconds. Torbjorn, the cooldown on his overload decreased to 10 seconds. Genji mains, you're gonna like this. His shuriken ammo increased to 30 bullets. It's not a huge buff, but at least it's something. And also Zarya mains, your secondary fire now slightly does a little bit more damage, and also the explosion radius is a little bit more bigger. I also forgot to mention that Moira received a nerf, but not to her damage ball, so take that what you will. But now she only does 65 heal per second, where beforehand it was 80 per second. So these aren't huge changes because this change is supposed to focus on the double shields. If you guys remember back in early September, I did make a video talking about the shield problem in Overwatch, and I introduced the idea to decrease the hit points of all the shields in Overwatch by maybe around 30%. Now, I'm not saying Overwatch looked at that specific video because, one, they didn't do exactly what I suggested, but what they did was focus on the main freaking issue. You're not supposed to nerf Doomfist or Symmetra because the only reason why those heroes are good in the first place is because shields are so prominent. Well, now that shields are nerfed to the point where you have options to either run maybe 2 off-meta tanks, that also opens the door for other DPS heroes that otherwise were bad because they were so focused on shooting the shield when that's not supposed to be their job. Like Tracer, like Genji, they're not supposed to shoot the shield, they're supposed to go around and flank, but the thing is though, double shields were so prominent. Now it's less of a necessity. It's still going to be needed and it still can be key in the team composition, but it's not the only thing that you need from the tanks. And in a sense, that's not the only kind of DPS hero that you need, is someone to be able to destroy shields or get around the shields, which is why Doomfist and Symmetra were so prevalent. Now, does this mean shield tanks are completely useless? You never want to run them? You should run a D.Va and a Ball? Probably not. But what this is going to do is balance out the game. Whereas if someone is a D.Va main, or someone is a Hammond main, or a Zarya main, and they're not a good shield tank, well, they can still thrive in competitive because they don't have to waste their skills on a shield tank that they're probably not good at because it's not a necessity anymore. This is why it's such a huge change, but it's such a simple change that I think Overwatch really needed. Now, of course, all these shield tank mains are going to be crying me like, oh, well, my hero's so useless, but that's why they balanced out these other shield tanks so that you're not just playing the hero for their shield, you're playing Reinhardt for his passive ability, or you're playing Orisa for your fortify ability, or Sigma because of your ultimate. There's other reasons to play these tank heroes other than the shield. And now that the shields aren't the main focal point, you can focus on shooting the enemy team. And that's why I really do like this change. Is it going to completely fix Overwatch? Is it going to be the most glorious game to play of all time? I'm not entirely sure, but what I do know is that shields are going to be less prominent. Now, if you still don't believe me that shield tanks can still be a viable option when it comes to a team composition, be sure to just focus on the other buffs that all of the shield tanks did get. Like Reinhardt, a buff to his passive ability, and then Sigma now also has a bigger shield whenever he uses his kinetic grasp. Or with Orisa with her fortify ability cooldown now dropping to 8 seconds. There are good reasons to play the shield tanks other than just the shield. I really don't think that people realize that. Even tank mains, yes, that is their main identity. I mean, mean, that's why they are a main tank, is because they're able to protect their team. But do you really think that should be the main focus of Overwatch? What is the main reason why you fell in love with Overwatch? Is it because you were able to get a bunch of kills, you were able just to team wipe the enemy team and be so satisfied? Or is it because you were able to put a shield in a choke and protect your team? Some people do like the latter, but most people like the beginning statement that I did state. Even tank mains can admit, or maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's why I want to hear your guys' comments. Whether you're a tank main, whether you're a main tank main, or a DPS player, a support player, because I didn't even talk about the support players. A hero like Ana could be seen a little bit more because now shields aren't blocking her heals. So again, you just have to realize what this means for other heroes, not just DPS, not just supports, and not just off tanks. Just everybody, because it's not even the main tank's fault. It was the shield's fault. Or I guess in Reinhardt's case, it is his fault because he is the shield. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.